might steer this channel in more of just a straight up film direction. It's my biggest hobby, probably, so I'm not sure. I haven't committed fully to the idea of it yet, but I think I might do a fully filmed out thing with tier lists of maybe directors and actors and franchises. So what better way to start that, aside from Bo Burnham's Inside, than the Marvel films? Now, I have seen every single one of these films on this list. Some a lot more than others. Some I've seen once. Some I've seen like a few times. Again, they're all pretty good films. I enjoy all of them, if most of them, if not all of them. So these will be ranked in comparison to each other, not in comparison to other films. That being said, Iron Man 1 is gonna be an awesome. I don't like these categories, but we'll just say the S, A, etc. Because it's the start of the MCU. It's a really good film. I'm tempted to put it in superior, but we might have to make another tier actually. But for now, we're going to put it in awesome. Again, it's the start of the MCU, a very solid introduction to a franchise, a character. Yeah, and it's the best Iron Man film. I'm going to go on record saying that. Well, I'm going to go on record saying a lot in this, but Thor 1. You know, I like Thor a lot as a character, maybe more than a lot of people. So the Dark World, I know this isn't the Dark World, but I'll get onto that. The Dark World doesn't bother me as much as other people, because I love Thor as a character so much, and that is the same as I believe this is the first one. Oh no, it's not. It's the Dark World. Okay, I'm assuming the first one is here. Okay, we'll do both. It's not good, but so this is the Dark World. The Dark World isn't good, but I don't hate it. So I'm just wondering if we should change these around. We'll change them to S, A, B, C, D. Should I add an F as well? E. I'm gonna leave it for now. I'll leave it for now. And maybe it is in D, and maybe this is in C. But I'm gonna go on record saying I don't hate this film as much as everyone else does. I actually don't think it's the worst MCU film, but that is purely because I like the character of Thor so much. In terms of filmmaking, you know, there's way too many Dutch tilts. There's a lot of complaints. But in terms of enjoyment, I'm gonna say it's my MCU guilty pleasure. Or it's not. I don't like it that much, but I just don't hate it as much as everyone else. Avengers is also gonna go in A tier. We may need an F tier in that case. So I'll go and do that now. Okay. C, D, F. I know there's E, but we're going to do F. So we'll do this. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Again, I know that Iron Man was the start of the MCU. Maybe I will put it in A. But it does just give us... It does just give us more breathing room for like the rest of the films. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Not the biggest fan. I think the Ant-Man films, as of now, have been quite low stakes. I'm going to put the first one above the second one, actually, because I did prefer it. And I would say it's better than Thor. I'm going to say it's a shame that Edgar Wright didn't direct this. I think that would have really, you know, obviously, we know how stylized and how Edgar Wright does direct. And he was meant to, until creative differences happened, which doesn't surprise me. It's a shame that he didn't direct it, but we are going to put it in C because it's not a bad film. Ant-Man and the Wasp is just a bit worse, and I just didn't feel the stakes in this. Avengers, I think this is Age of Ultron. It's gonna go in D as well. It looks like I'm hating on the MCU. Maybe that's just the order I've pulled these out in. F. I'm not the biggest fan of Age of Ultron. I did like the scene where they're all picking up Mjolnir. I think that was a cool scene. But for the most part, I'm not the biggest fan of this film. But we're going to put The Dark World ahead of it, I think. Yeah, we'll rank these as well. I don't know if I've done that on my other tier lists, but we're going to put Thor. We're going to put Thor as above Ant-Man and the Wasp. Avengers Infinity War is S tier. I just couldn't believe what I'd seen in the cinema when I saw it. I didn't believe it. I left exactly how the creators of this film expected me and intended for me to leave. So for that reason, it is an S tier. It's one of the best MCU films. Like, I think that's an agreement. So that is happily going an S, along with Avengers Endgame. Now, I know the criticism for Avengers Endgame being the first half, for the most part. However, I would be inclined to agree. However, that second half definitely makes up for it. Obviously, the first half isn't bad, but I get the criticism. But again, I think this was definitely... I'm pretty certain this was my best cinema experience ever. So I went to the midnight launch. I did a double bill because we couldn't get tickets to just Endgame. So that means I saw Infinity War and Endgame back to back. And Infinity War finished just in time for Endgame to start at 12. And my cinema was obviously like so gassed. It was just... For that, it really helps this film for me. But also it's a great film and I really love it. And the payoffs are great and it's emotional and hits when it needs to hit. So these are my 2 S tiers for now. Black Panther. I think B is a solid... I don't think it's A tier, because I do think, this is the big team up. This is the first. It's better than Ant-Man. It's obviously culturally, it is impactful. Ryan Coogler's a great director. Obviously Chadwick Boseman, rest his soul, is great in it. Everyone's great in it. It's very stylized. It's very culturally driven. It's just a great film. The bad guy actually had a point, which I like in these films. Like, with Infinity War and Endgame, it's the same thing with Thanos. So B tier is a pretty solid. I may move it up depending on the others, but for now B tier is pretty solid. Black Widow, C tier. I did enjoy Black Widow. I went to the cinema to see it. Like most people, finally going to the cinema. But yeah, it wasn't my favourite. I mean, clearly because it's in C tier. There is better on here, but it wasn't a bad film. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I think the beginning 50 minutes were the best of the film. It's a shame it couldn't keep that up throughout the whole film, even though it was a good film, but it wasn't my favourite. So it's C tier, and I'm happy with that for now. Winter Soldier is S tier. I think this is the reason the Russos got Infinity War and Endgame. The action's great, and obviously the iconic knife flip. Just everything about this film is like Marvel doing what it should do. It's the best example of that, I think. If I'm going to rank these, I would hate to. So I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave them. They're all S tier. I think those are my 3 S tiers. And we're going to move on. Right, Civil War is probably B or A. I'm going to say A in terms of enjoyment. It does feel like an Avengers movie. I know a lot of people say that. I agree. Obviously, Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. We haven't covered that yet, but I love Spider-Man. He's in this. The bad guy, Zemo, is really well done. So I'm going to put it in A. Again, these are in comparison to MCU films, not every film ever. The first Avenger is gonna go in C. Now, I really enjoyed the first Avenger. I think it's a good intro to Captain America. I think it's a solid origin story. Red Skull's interesting. Not my favourite villain, but he's interesting. So I'm going to put this in C. Now, I think this might have been the first Marvel film I ever saw. Don't quote me on that, because I might be wrong. But, yeah, no, solid film. So we're going to move on. Captain... sorry, I just forgot a name. Captain Marvel. Maybe that shows what I feel about this film. I like the Skrulls. I think they're unpredictable. Spoilers. It's obvious as spoilers. I liked how Jude Law was typecasted as someone who he wasn't for that reason. I think Brie Larson's fine in the role. But I wasn't really interested in her character. You know, that's kind of it. Like, if I'm not really interested in the character, the film can do stuff to help that, but there's only so much it can do. So I feel harsh putting it F, but I am going to put it here just because it's not my favourite. I'm not the biggest Captain Marvel fan, but I do like Brie Larson. I know she's been under some stick. I like some of her other projects as well, like Room, and she's good in Scott Pilgrim, but this film didn't do it for me. Doctor Strange, I actually quite enjoy. I'm not going to put it in B. I'm going to put it in C. But I did enjoy Doctor Strange. I don't think the bad guy is very good. I think there's a Pro ZD skit where he talks about the Doctor Strange bad guy. It's just basically an evil Doctor Strange. But I like the character. I like how he's just an asshole, you know. I like the special effects. I think they look good. I like Doctor Strange, so I'm going to put him in C tier. Guardians is going to go in A tier. Guardians 1, I absolutely adore this film. I think it's so good. I'm almost tempted to put it in S tier, but it's going to go in A tier. It was just so unexpectedly good. I recently saw Suicide Squad as well. So James Gunn, I'm such a big fan. I'm really enjoying all the stuff he's doing at the moment. This was kind of the start of that, minus like Super, his other film. So yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of the comedy, the visuals. This is just a solid surprise Marvel of mine. Marvel favourite, not favourite, but one of their films. It's one of my favourites, hence the A tier. Guardians 2, I was so disappointed. I'm not going to lie, I like the intro Groot. Some of it just felt a bit... Like, I know it's not grounding, I know it's not meant to be realistic, but like, you know, just the things were like when he was like Pac-Man, he was getting chased around with Pac-Man. Stuff like that kind of just took me out of the film. The Yondu stuff I really liked. I might put it to C, because talking about it now, obviously it's got the visuals, the music, the Yondu's part is great. I wasn't the biggest fan of Star-Lord's daddy issues, but I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna keep it in D. Nah, I've said too much good stuff. It's going in C. Iron Man 2. I really just don't care for this film. I don't like this film. I don't think it's a good film. I think it's a shame this is the direction it took after the first one. I think Mickey Rourke is... just not the biggest fan of this film. And yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame because I like the character of Iron Man. I think there's something good with this film. I mean, it's just funny comparing like man with big whips to like Titan, like planet destroying Titan. That's not like a qualm with the film. That's just looking back on the MCU. I think that's quite funny. But it's gonna be an F tier. I'm not a big fan of this film. In fact, I do actually prefer the Thor: The Dark World to this film. So, Iron Man 3. I didn't like this film really. I think I like it less than other people. I think the ending's quite good. I like the fireworks and stuff. But obviously it doesn't feel like the end of Tony because it's not, because of Endgame. So I wish it kind of came after them. Guy Pearce he's fine in the role of the bad guy. The Ben Kingsley, like, kind of, I'm not sure what you'd call the word, kind of puppet. I'm not sure if I was the biggest fan of that. I think that he was more intimidating as a bad guy when he wasn't. It's kind of being used for laughs in a way. I dislike when, like, they undercut drama for laughs. But so, yeah, and Ben Kingsley's so good as well at what he does, so they didn't need to do that. So I was a bit disappointed by this film. The Incredible Hulk, actually, I don't even hate that much. Obviously, it's not great, but I do love Edward Norton as an actor. I think he's great in the Wezzes, and he's in Fight Club, American History X. He's a good actor. But yeah, it feels distant from the MCU, which isn't the film's fault per se. But yeah, I'm gonna put it here. I don't think these are ordered actually, but it is gonna go in F tier because I prefer these films. So it's that simple. Now this is Far From Home, right? I can't tell which one's which. I need to get a closer look. Okay, we're going to assume this one. Yeah, I think that's Far From Home. Far From Home is... I'm going to put both the Spider-Man in B tier. Just because I love Spider-Man as a character. I don't think they're the most best. I don't think they're the best, most groundbreaking films in the MCU. But I like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and that's like most of the bias. And they're just fun films. For Far From Home, Jake Gyllenhaal's great as Mysterio. I love Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor. Michael Keaton's good in Homecoming. So I enjoy both of these films because of the character for one, but also just the films, they're not bad. So yeah, Thor Ragnarok, I love Taika Waititi with all my heart. I'm so excited I'm trying to pronounce this. That's why I was struggling with my words then. I am so excited for Thor 4. Trying to say that loads of times over and over again. I'm so excited. Oh my god, I don't want to say it again. For the next installment in the Thor franchise. I think this film's great. I think it's such a nice change of pace. The colours, Taika's humour. The characters really shine out. I love Loki in this film. I didn't mention Loki in Avengers, but obviously Loki is great. I might have to rank the shows soon, but I'm going to probably wait for like a couple more to come out first. Yeah, this is just such a nice change of pace. This is the exact revitalization that Thor needed as a character. And I'm so excited for the next installment in this trilogy. It's a shame the other two couldn't be by Taika and like this. So we had 4 great Thor films. But yeah, we can't have our cake and eat it. I'm happy with what we've got so far, and I'm looking forward to the next one with Christian Bale. So yeah, this is my ranking. Let me know yours in the comments below if you have one. Again, I might change my opinion literally like in a week. I might watch one of these films and think, actually, I think I preferred it to this film. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions. These are mine. Again, this isn't in comparison to every film ever, just these films. And yeah, I'm going to press stop now.